Hi everyone, welcome to Misty and the Brit. I really enjoy my hobbies, and so when I think about moving to the Philippines, being able to continue with them is something that I take very seriously and something that I've looked into to some extent. So please stay with me and I'll give you my thoughts, what I found out. Hobbies are not just important because I enjoy them so much, although that is a key factor, but they're also incredibly valuable when moving to a new place to meet new people and to integrate into the community. I can't think of anything better really, other than maybe if you're moving for work or something like that, in how you're going to meet new people and how you can start to ingratiate yourself into the society a little bit and sort of find your way around and like I said, meet people. Now, as you can probably tell from the rackets on the wall behind me, my main hobby, my main sport interest is tennis. I love tennis, I've played since 4 years old, and I'm simply not prepared to move somewhere that I couldn't play. That's just a non-starter for me, non-negotiable. And as you can probably see from my second screen behind me, I also record my games back here in the UK and put them on YouTube on my second channel, Bruce's Bonus. Now, I've had sort of mixed results, I suppose you could say, with tennis in the Philippines. Where Misty's from, in Tacloban, has been absolutely fantastic. The local tennis club there welcome me with open arms. They have lots of sort of mixing evenings or days, so I can just turn up with my racket, pay a few pesos and just join in, mix around and play with all the local people, which is absolutely great. They've been really, really welcoming. They're happy to let me join in, happy to mix around, and it seems like they all want to be on a court with me. I'm not great, but I'm not terrible either. And I really enjoy going down to the club, and I'm looking forward to getting back there and playing with them again. I've had slightly different experiences in other places. We spent a little bit of time in Cebu, and I've got to be honest, I was very disappointed. We went to one of the top clubs. I just took a racket along and was told that no, there's no social tennis, there's no opportunity to mix in. The best that they could offer me was an hour at 2:30 in the afternoon playing with the coach. 2:30 in the afternoon is just no good. It's just simply far too hot, and that's why that slot's open, because simply nobody else really wants to play at that time, which was a real shame. Misty then contacted 3 or 4 other clubs on my behalf just to see if they would let me just go down and have a knock, have a hit, and none of them would. Some of them said that they just didn't want to play with foreigners or didn't like foreigners going down, and others just didn't have that sort of social aspect. Now, I must say that if I was to live in Cebu and I was to join one of these clubs, I'm sure I would slowly meet people and find those opportunities to play, find a group of people that I could have a good hit with, and it probably wouldn't be a problem. But it was disappointing to be there for 10 days and not be able to have a hit at all. Just a bit of a shame, really. So if I think about the Philippines in general and what I've seen and what I've observed, what I've noticed about sort of what they like, what they enjoy, they're quite Americanized. So basketball is massive. So if you're a fan of basketball and you like to play a bit of basketball, you can do that anywhere. Every barangay, every subdivision has its own court, usually very well maintained as well. And at pretty much any time of day or night, there's somebody down there bouncing a ball around, shooting some hoops and having a game. They have lots of leagues, lots of barangay teams, and all of these sorts of things. So if you're into basketball, you're absolutely in the right place in the Philippines. No question about it at all. Another sport that I've seen on TV an enormous amount is volleyball. Seems to get a lot of coverage. I haven't seen so many people playing it, but I do know that it's a big sport in schools. So again, if you're into volleyball, loads of opportunity for you to probably join in with the locals and find a game of volleyball pretty much anywhere, I would expect. After that, I think about sort of bar games. I quite like occasionally a game of darts, certainly did in my youth, and everybody likes a game of pool, or billiards as some people prefer to call it. And they're everywhere. You can pretty much go into any bar and there will be a row of dartboards and a couple of pool tables. That was really encouraging. I really enjoyed having a game of darts with Misty's brother. He was far better than me, I've got to say. I hadn't played in a while, but still really enjoyed it, and very reassuring to know that I could just take my darts along to a bar and would probably be able to find a game with somebody with a couple of drinks and a bite to eat for a social evening and that sort of stuff. So that was really encouraging. And I think it's the same with pool. You could go along, meet some people, have a game of pool over a drink and a bite to eat, and have a really nice evening, and they're everywhere. So I don't imagine that would be a problem. If you like to play pool or billiards, nine ball, those sorts of things, absolutely spot on. I've also played a lot of other racket sports, so badminton, table tennis, a little bit of squash. Haven't played pickleball or paddle yet, but I'd certainly be up for giving it a go. Badminton, everybody likes to play. Sometimes you'll even see people playing out in the streets. Which is great. I'd love to have a game of badminton with some people out there. I'll even try and have a game with Misty and her family next time I'm out there. So that's certainly one that's very easy. I haven't seen any table tennis, but I am being told that pickleball is becoming more popular over there. Lots of people playing it. One of the problems I find with pickleball or paddle is it's just very noisy. But if you know anything about the Philippines, you'll know that noise is not an issue. It's a noisy country. So I'm sure that the clack of pickleball isn't going to bother anybody there. And I'm sure it's a growth sport with lots of people getting involved. Again, something I'm more than happy to try when I go out there. Another way to meet new people, another way to get out, get a bit of exercise, and just enjoy your time out there for a social activity, which is absolutely fab. Another very popular sport, especially with Westerners, is of course golf. Golf, I would say, you can probably find again pretty easily, and most of the big cities will have a decent golf course. Some may even have several. I would expect this to be quite expensive, but then golfers are probably already aware of this. I'm sure you will know better than anybody how expensive a sport golf can be, whether that's in the United States, in the UK, in Europe, or wherever. And it'll be no different here, but it's certainly accessible, and I'm sure you'll be able to find some people to go for a round or two. And I have heard of people going even to a local city for 2 or 3 days to meet up with some people, go and have a couple of rounds of golf, and then back off home again once they're finished with it. So golf is another one that's readily accessible and probably you won't have too much difficulty with. I don't know about the availability of like buying golf clubs and that sort of stuff, but I'm sure if you look around, if you shop around, if you look into it, you can find what you need. And that would go probably the same for equipment for most sports and most activities. You can find it. Might be a little bit more expensive than back home, but again, probably easier to buy them and pay a little bit more for them locally in the Philippines than shipping them over from the West, from the UK, from the United States, Canada, wherever it is that you're coming from. So yeah, golf's definitely accessible and equipment's generally pretty easy to get hold of if you look around. Then of course there are some sort of sports activities that are pretty not unique, but pretty big in the Philippines, either because of some stars that they've had or just from a cultural point of view. One of those is martial arts. They have a sort of stick fighting martial art called Arnis, which is very popular, I'm told, and is becoming quite well known around the world now. So I'm sure if you're interested in martial arts, there'd be an opportunity for you to get involved in that sort of stuff as well. Without any issues. I'm sure you'd be welcome. They'd probably be quite proud to sort of share their culture with you in that respect. And then, of course, you've got boxing. Very similar, obviously, to the martial arts side of things in the gyms and whatnot. And, of course, there's the very famous Manny Pacquiao, who is an absolutely astonishing boxer. I think he holds the record for the most world titles at different weights or something like this. So I'm sure if you were into boxing, you could probably get involved in that as well. Although I do appreciate that like me, a lot of the expats and people who are moving to the Philippines are probably a little bit more advanced in age, shall we say, and so boxing probably isn't something that they're looking to take part in a big way. And of course, there's the gym. Gyms are everywhere, so if you want to just go and work out, meet some people at the gym, pull some weights, get on a running machine or rowing machine, something like that, they're everywhere, so you won't have any problems with that at all either. And I'm sure it's very, very easy to find one, probably fairly minimal cost as well. I've also come across some sort of running and cycling clubs. So if that's your thing, then again, I'm sure you could get involved in that. But it is worth noting that the only time I've seen these clubs is either very early in the morning or sort of earlier in the evening, because of course it's just too hot to go running or cycling in the middle of the day in the Philippines. So yeah, you're looking at an early start probably, or after work you could probably find some clubs that do that sort of thing. I've seen people running up and down some of the major roads, even both in Cebu and in Tacloban, in that respect. So yeah, there's certainly opportunities to get involved in that as well. As a lot of people will actually come to the Philippines for specific activities. And in this respect, I'm referring to like water sports. The Philippines is made up of 7,000 islands, something like that. And there is some of the best scuba diving and snorkeling in the world in and around the Philippines. Now, I'm sure that that's mostly focused on a lot of the bigger resorts, Siargao, Palawan, Bohol, places like this. And they get visitors, there's competitions, all of that sort of stuff. Very, very popular, and they've got some absolutely stunning places to engage in those sorts of sports or activities. And the same with surfing. There's some big surfing competitions in the Philippines. So if you're a surfer dude, then I'm sure you can find some opportunities to get involved in that as well. And I do know that fishing is very popular. Now, a lot of people probably do the fishing so that they can catch some food, catch the dinner, if you like. But again, if you're an angler, if it's something that you like, there's lots and lots of rivers and coastlines where you can take a rod along, try and catch yourself some fish. I'll make a special mention here to Stephen from Philippines Life Through the Eyes of an Expat. His channel's absolutely spot on. I recommend you go and check them out. He's a keen angler, loves to go fishing, quite often on his own, I think, to get a bit of peace. But he even used to have a boat where he would take that out into the waters and have a day's fishing. So fishing's certainly accessible there, and I don't imagine it's difficult getting hold of the equipment and things that you need to do that as well. Not my bag, but whatever floats your boat, to excuse the pun. Okay, and then if you're a more artsy person, I suppose, if you're into like dancing, I'm sure there are dance studios everywhere, especially in the bigger cities. Not quite so sure, maybe out in the province it would be more difficult, but there's certainly lots of sort of cultural elements, cultural dancing that takes place. I've seen lots of children practicing their like cultural dances and traditional dances for school events and that sort of thing. And I'm sure there are plenty of studios out there where if you want to do more formal ballroom and that sort of stuff, or more hip-hop style dancing, I'm sure there's ample opportunities for you to get involved in those as well. And of course, there's singing. Filipinos are famous for their singing. There's a lot of people in the Philippines with absolutely incredible voices. And karaoke, videoke is a massive, massive thing over there. Every household, every family will have like a videoke machine. Microphones are everywhere, and it's something that's very, very popular at all sorts of family events and gatherings. In fact, you can't really avoid it. They're absolutely everywhere. Everybody loves to sing. Everybody likes to do a bit of karaoke. Something that actually, if you don't like, if it annoys you, you might want to consider whether you're moving to the right place or not. Because sometimes you can be sitting outside your house, for example, and you'll hear karaoke coming from 3 or 4 different directions all at once. Just get used to the idea, would be my view, if you're looking to move to the Philippines. On the other side of sort of arts and crafts and stuff, I'm sure there's lots of local crafts that you can probably get involved in. art's absolutely no problem. If you're interested in things like yoga and meditation, there's plenty of opportunity. I expect to do those. Some I expect are maybe more based around the more resorts. But again, any big city, you can probably do those sorts of activities. Photography, making videos, really, really popular in the Philippines as well. So, and it's just an absolutely stunning and beautiful country. So you can certainly get involved in photography if you like to take photographs. There is limitless opportunities for you to take some great shots all across the Philippines, I would say. Okay, I think that probably covers the main ones and most of them. I'll apologise. I'm absolutely sure I'll have missed a few of the key hobbies that people want to do. For example, football. Football, or soccer, as they would say in the United States, is just something I haven't come across at all in the Philippines. I know they will have a national team, and I'm sure in some of the big cities there are probably teams and opportunities to go and watch and that kind of thing. But it's not like Europe. It's not like the UK especially. You're not going to find five-a-side leagues everywhere, little football pitches everywhere. It's just not a thing out there. So if you like to play football, good luck. And because of that, there's no sort of older version, so there's no like walking football or anything like that, or at least I haven't come across it. It may be there if you look hard enough. Certainly, maybe in Manila you might find something, but like I say, I've not come across any of that. So good luck if footy's your thing. From what I gather as well, a lot of the people who are into football probably just support a team, and quite likely they're going to support Premier League teams or Real Madrid, because that's the same around the world really, everywhere outside of Europe for sure. The last thing I'd say is just about the locational side of things. So if you're in a big city, you can probably find whatever hobbies you want, no question at all. Even some of the medium cities, you'll find most things. But if you go out into the provinces, if you're out in the wilderness, as it were, it's much more unlikely that you'll find some of the more fringe stuff or more of the sort of Western hobbies, as I would call them. So I wouldn't be confident living right out in the sticks that I would find easy access to tennis courts. And it's probably the same with a lot of the major stuff, other than things like basketball, of course, which is literally everywhere. So let me know in the comments if you've got any thoughts about this. If you play a sport or you want me to look into a particular sport, I'm more than happy to ask the question and see what's going on in the Philippines around that particular sport. But otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.